Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the crisis in Nigeria, and we're fortunate to have with us to talk about the recent crises in Nigeria, our resident African expert, Dr. LMadu. And Dr. Madu, I refer to you as our resident African expert, primarily because not only are you the expert dealing with Africa as well as the Middle East and a number of other areas, and certainly the very fact of you being an international lawyer and the president of the Pan-African Journal simply gives you an understanding of a lot of things that many people do not understand. Now, Dr. Madu, I think you will recall that the last time you were with us, at least quite recently you were with us, and we talked about Nigeria as we have talked about Nigeria on 8 or 10 different occasions. But I think then we said that the president of Nigeria was no longer in Nigeria, had been absent for a number of days, and now we understand that he came back and now he has, let's talk about Nigeria. Bring us up to date with what is going on in Nigeria.
Well, the last time, we talked about Nigeria, the president was still in Saudi Arabia, like they told Nigerians, that's where he's been since November 23rd. Then on February 24th, he was, quote, smuggled back into the country. People use the word smuggled because when he came back, nobody ever saw him. And up to today, nobody has seen him either. Yes, even the acting president hasn't even seen him. And nobody in the country can tell you they've seen him. No member of parliament has seen him. No police official can tell you they've seen him. No commander of the armed forces have told you they've seen him.
There's no eyewitness account of the president of Nigeria being in Nigeria.
Being in the country, absolutely. We heard that he's been back. The Commissioner for Information, who is paid to inform people about what's happening in the country, said she saw the return on TV like everybody else. She didn't know what to report, whether he's in the country or not. He saw the report on TV that he's back in the country. The vice president himself hasn't seen the acting president himself hasn't seen the president. Some say, well, he has to go talk to the wife before talking to him. So it's just story after story. The sad thing is that the president is supposedly back in the country, staying on one side of the presidential palace, and the acting president is sitting on one side of the presidential palace. You can just imagine, let's
two
say,
presidents.
Exactly, two presidents. Put it that way. Obama is sick. He's staying on the east wing. The vice president is acting. He's staying on the west wing. These are still two presidents now. That's what you call it, because the acting president is fully empowered. And then you have a president who says he's sick, sitting on the other side. But a stone throw to the other office, the acting president cannot walk over there and see the ailing president.
Well, Dr. Madu, explain to some members of our audience what we're talking about. We're talking about the largest city a country in Africa, in West Africa. Go on, explain that. Explain what Nigeria is.
It is the most populous black country in the world. And you can say, unarguably, the most powerful black country in the world with 150 million people. With all the resources you can talk of. 15% of the oil sent to these countries comes from Nigeria. Okay? And so it's very important, not only to Africa, but even to American policy in Africa, and also the world in terms of ethnic politics and all that. So that's the problem here. So you have a few group of people holding 150 million people hostage. Now, the president left on November 23rd, according to them, because that's the information they give out. Nobody knows which is correct, to Saudi Arabia. And he's been there without handing over to the vice president, which is what is normal. He didn't even have to do that, until people got fed up. And then on February 9th, the Nigerian National Assembly, so-called, said, okay, let's empower the vice president to become acting. So he became acting since February 9th. But the ministers appointed by the former president weren't inclined to take orders from the acting president. They still felt they need to be loyal to the sick president. So that's been creating a whole lot of problems. So this is what led to, yesterday, 2 days ago, the acting president dissolved the cabinet, fired all the ministers, and, he's now trying to submit the names of his own ministers to parliament for approval. But it's not going to be easy, because there are a lot of people in that, members of parliament, who are opposed to him, and they will make it difficult for him to even appoint his own
Dr.
people.
LMadu, let's prepare for this first commercial break. And when we come back, I want to pick up at this point to explain to our audience some of the problems and some of the difficulties that are part of this. And we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.